Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Chamberlain, the Air Force guy. Appreciate everybody joining us here. If you're actually watching this on replay, feel free to skip forward a little bit. Just going to do a little housekeeping here. I want to thank everybody for joining us here this evening. Let's see who's in the house here. RV Dog, first one in the house. Let me see. Did that come up? There we go. RV Dog's in the house. He was first guy here. Appreciate that. We've got Schubert 1776. See, he's locked and loaded, ready to go out there and do some hunting. And let's see here. We've got Bambi and Kent Grinder. Appreciate you all joining us here this evening. Things are moving here a little bit quickly here. We've got Vincent Kennedy from West Virginia. Thank you again for joining us. And, of course, a buddy, George Danik, down there. I think he's up in Michigan. Yeah, he's up in Michigan right now. And then, of course, Brian Matthews. Appreciate you all joining us here. So anyway, I put a little big thank you down below to those of you that have donated to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Appreciate that. Like I say, I've got a lot of things still coming. That's going to be one heck of a week's vacation for the lucky family that wins that. And like I say, for a $25 donation to Make-A-Wish, this may be your week's vacation next year. So please do consider contributing. I see Cathy Beall's in the house now. Thank you very much. So as mentioned down below, or for the caption for this evening, is now the worst time to buy an RV? Or is it the best time? You know, lots of people out there say it's a terrible time to buy. And I think that you need to take that with a little grain of salt. And you got to kind of ask yourself some questions. One, when do you want to go camping? Heck, if you want to go camping now, well, now's the time to buy. You know, just for instance, to give you an idea of what it could mean to wait to buy. I had someone looking at a certain RV back about 7 months ago, and the cost on that RV was about $135,000. Today, if he wants that same one, it's like $158,000. So now, obviously, it's not going to be that drastic if you're looking at a travel trailer. That was a motorhome. But understand that the longer you wait, if you're looking to buy a new RV, the more expensive it's going to be. Because the cost of materials is going up. Now, you know, you look at things, and let me bring up my screen here. Look at what's been going on here. And as you can see, wholesale shipments year over year, it's up like 31%. I mean, that's amazing. You know, folding campers, you know, travel trailers, that's broken down. But overall, total RV shipments are up 31%. So that's pretty amazing. Now, the other thing you're looking at when you look at this stuff is everywhere you look, what do you see? News about how the recreational vehicles are just on the rise. Things are just, it's crazy. I mean, going from dead to nonstop. And, you know, you go to a lot of these dealerships and you see very little inventory compared to what they used to have. And there's no end in sight on this stuff. As you can see, I mean, everything that you read about this stuff is that the RV industry, everybody saying that this is going to continue through 2021, possibly into 2022. Now, some people might be saying, well, why should I buy now? You know, maybe I'll go ahead and wait till next spring, summer, or fall, because heck, at that time, all these people they're buying right now, well, heck, they're going to find out that maybe they don't like it, or maybe they bought the wrong unit, or this or that. And, you know, I'm going to wait and buy a gently used camper next year. Well, the only problem with that, it's like anything else, buying a car, buying an RV. You buy something today, brand new, and this could be the same thing if you're buying used, what's it worth the day you take it off the lot? I mean, and this is nothing against the RV industry. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're buying a car, whether you're buying a boat, whether you're buying a truck, it's all the same. You are actually going to owe more on what you own, the camper, whatever camper you have. Now that's what they consider being upside down, or what they call negative equity. So understand that from that standpoint, I don't think you're going to see the glut of RVs next year that you think you might. Now, you might see a lot of people trying to sell theirs, but I can guarantee you they're going to be trying to get top dollar for it. Now, of course, when you're looking at buying now, what's the problem buying now is, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these RV dealers, such as ours, we used to have over 400 units in stock on any given day. Like, we're lucky if we have 150. Now, with that being said, we might have 150 on the lot, but how many of those are already sold? You know, we just went over in our meeting on Friday. We had like 120 some units that were sold in our system. Of the 120 some units that were sold, we had 60 couple that were units that were on order coming in. Now, you know, they were coming in anywhere between now and next year, maybe like next March. So that's a pretty big spread. So those are the things you got to ask yourself. You know, are you looking to start, you know, now, or are you looking even for like next spring? Because I tell you right now, if you're looking to do something next spring and it's not on a dealer's lot, you may want to go ahead and consider putting your name on something now versus waiting. And why is that? Because to guarantee that you have something for next year. No telling what is going to happen come February, March of next year, when you think, okay, well, I'm going to go out and buy mine now. It may be you might set yourself up for buying something you don't want or you don't particularly care for, just so you can go camping, or ordering something and it's going to come in like maybe in September. So keep that in mind now. Now, what's happening with that right now is, you know, shipments have slowed up. It's taken time for us to get things. You take a look at manufacturers, they're really not up to full production like they were a year ago. You know, there's a lot of different opinions out there as far as when you should buy and when would be a better time for you. I've always said that the best time for you to buy is when you're ready to buy. And understand that tomorrow is not promised. That's why they call today a gift. It's called the present, right? I know I was going over that as far as 10 things to consider when you're buying. And that was one of the things I did. And I took a tape measure and said, where are you on this tape measure? How many more years do you think that you're going to be able to go camping or go do what you want to do? That's the reason why you want to do something sooner than later. I can't tell you how many times I have somebody come in and it's only one of the spouses and they're talking about how they talked about it for years. And there are people that shop for years and never buy something. And then, of course, one of them dies. So understand, do it sooner than later. We're going to get into 4 things you need to consider before you buy as well. We're going to get into that a little bit. And by the way, if any of you have any questions, by all means, put it in the chat here, and I'll make sure I get to it. So keep that in mind. So right now what we're running into, for instance, is manufacturers, they're running out of parts. So units are coming offline and they're sitting at the plants without an air conditioner, without any sprayer ports, without any water heaters, without whatever, kitchen sinks, refrigerators. So it's a whole different ballgame. I talked about last week how flex steel furniture pulled out of the RV industry. And that created a whole big can of worms for some of these manufacturers that's what they were exclusive with. So keep that in mind. You're going to see things changing. I mean, I see things changing to the Furrion ACs, and I know I told you I'm going to get some videos on how-tos on those, the air conditioners, the refrigerators, a lot of different things that are hitting the markets that you might not have seen before. Um, we had a camper come offline, I think it was October 5th, and it was waiting on parts. It finally is going to be shipped. We should receive it this Friday. So that's how long a delay could be. So keep that in mind. Now, people are saying, well, geez, next summer, spring or fall, people are going to be selling their camper, so and so forth. And or maybe people aren't going to want to be doing anything with their camper. And I don't see that happening at all. I think that what has happened has kind of awakened people. And I think you're going to see less people wanting to stay at hotels. You're going to see less people that want to fly places to stay at hotels. You're going to see less people that want to go on cruises. And so what alternative do they have if they want to go take a vacation? Well, the best alternative is camping, right? Like I said, when they first came out with this, quote, social distancing thing way back when, I think it was March or April, one of the first things I did was a Facebook Live, and I was talking about how people that have been camping for decades have been practicing this, never knew that's what it was called. Because, I mean, where do people go camping? Well, even if you're at a campground, you still can social distance. You don't have to associate with anybody. Heck, now these campgrounds, everything's done online. You pull in, walk up, grab your thing off the board, maybe a pack of wood, and hit your site, and you're good to go. So one of the best social distancings out there, in my opinion anyway. So that has to do with why I don't consider it a bad time to buy or the worst time to buy. The best time to buy is when you're ready to buy. You want to go camping? Go buy something. Because understand, if you wait, the cost is only going to go up. And for those of you that might have been to Lowe's or Home Depot or trying to get other things, you're noticing that across the board, everything is going up. Now, Maureen, did we have any?
New Horizons wants to know they're getting rid of their 40-foot, wants to go to 30-foot, wants to know if you have any suggestions.
Okay, so New Horizons. Hey, Susan, how you doing? Glad to hear that you're going full-time here. Looking to trade your 40-foot Class A for a 30-foot fifth wheel. Paying cash, no more loans. We're going full-time, debt-free. That's awesome. Now, something I would tell you to do right now in this market is, if you have the wherewithal and you don't mind doing it, go ahead and attempt to sell your RV yourself. The benefit to you is that you could be putting thousands of dollars in your pocket, and that would give you, put you in a better position when you're buying your new RV. I just had a gentleman call me today, and he's telling me what he has, and I said, look, we'd be more than happy to trade it, but I can tell you, if I were in your shoes, this is what I would do. Now, some people don't want to go through that hassle, and that's fine. You're going to get a fair price for it, but just understand the benefit is, if you're able to sell it yourself, you will definitely be able to make a few bucks extra. And I'm talking thousands, typically. A lot depends on what you have. And I can tell you right now, motorhome sales is when things typically kick up in this area, because a lot of people are traveling. They're looking to hit the road. They're snowbirds. They want to get away from cold weather. So, Maureen, was there another?
Carrie Joe, that many people are buying. Where are they all going to camp?
Let's see here. If that many people are buying, where are they all going to camp? Well, there's a lot of places for camping. I just went camping this last weekend, and I think it really depends on what location you're looking at. I mean, obviously the East Coast is a little more congested than it would be on the West Coast, but there's a lot depending on where you're going. One thing I do caution you on, when you're calling these campgrounds and they're like owned by a conglomerate, when you call the 800 number, make sure that you try to get a person that is actually at the campground. I can tell you that there was one, and it was Drummer Boy here in Gettysburg. People were calling. I was telling people, hey, look, we're going to be up there this weekend. Give a call. I'm in this site. Make sure I know this site's available. This site's available. They called up. They didn't get the front desk. They actually got somebody at corporate, and they're saying that they're booked solid, and that was not the case. So try to talk directly to the campground, and you should find that you should find there's still plenty of campsites that are available now. Obviously, through the month of October in this area, in a lot of the East Coast areas, and maybe other places as well, with Halloween celebrations, campgrounds were pretty well full. So it could be an issue, and you've got to plan ahead. There's a lot of campgrounds that you've got to book a year out if you want a site. So, and that does happen, and it's only going to get more congested. Hopefully, as time moves forward, because of the amount of RV sales, hopefully we're going to be getting lots more as far as campgrounds opening up, and maybe the ones that are current expanding. Was there another one, Maureen?
No.
Let's see. We're going to do nothing but boondocking. We are getting a solar system installed. Well, understand with that, and with the solar systems, you have to have a lot of rooftop, and then of course you got to have enough battery power as well as inverters. So, and I know there's people that are able to do that, and best of luck to you with that. I'll tell you, once you learn how to do that, you'll have a blast, I'm sure. And let's see here, what we got here. We had, what was it?
Lee Coleman.
Oh, let's see here. Lee Coleman, let's see what we got here. Within a campground, what is the average size of individual sites, and what would you recommend in lieu of? Well, I think campground owners, I think a lot of times they have a variety of different sizes for sites. You're going to have the smaller sites that are typically in around trees that typically allow people with pop-ups, your hybrids and smaller travel trailers. You're going to have some pull-through sites, but you want to have a vast array of different sites, anywhere from 20 feet up to 45 feet, in order to accommodate those different sizes. Would be my recommendation on that. Is there another one more? So. Well, it doesn't matter about whether or not it doesn't matter whether or not your Class A is paid off first. Wheeling dealing, the price is going to be the price. So you don't necessarily need to pay it off prior to trading it in or selling it. If you're selling it yourself and you have a balance that's owed onto it, all you're doing is the person that's buying it, their bank's just going to send the money to your bank, and then your bank will reimburse you back any additional funds over and above the amount that you owe on it. So whether you owe nothing on it or whether you owe money on it doesn't affect the deal whatsoever. So hopefully that helps you. Now, let's get on to 4 questions that one should ask yourself. And this is things you need to ask yourself if, in fact, you're considering buying an RV. So this is kind of I'm kind of piggybacking off of what we talked about earlier. So now you decided, what? I think we want to get into camping. We want to get an RV. So the first thing you've got to ask yourself is, do you want a towable or do you want a drivable? And listen, it's okay if you want a towable and you don't have a truck now, that's a great position to be in. And the reason for that is now you can go focus on getting a floor plan that is going to work specifically for you, and then go get the vehicle that's capable of towing that particular unit. I can't tell you how many times I have people come in, they've bought a unit or they bought a truck, they come in, fall in love with something that's too big for them. I just had somebody just recently, they bought an F-150. Yeah, it could tow 13,000 pounds, but it's an F-150. It's a half-ton truck. And they're looking at a trailer that's 38 feet in length, a 1,200-pound tongue weight. That's a long trailer for a half-ton pickup. My recommendation would be minimum 3/4-ton truck. I mean, yeah, you can tow a whole heck of a lot with that truck, but they're going to know it's there. And that's like the tail wagging the dog. So that's just something, a recommendation I make. We'll go ahead and sell it to you, but we just give you let you know. I mean, if it wasn't rated for it, we're not going to sell it to you. Well, we'll back up. We'd sell it to you without doing any hitch work. So that would be that. So first of all, figure out whether you want to drive or towable. Then what you want to figure out is what's your travel style going to be? You got to be, are you looking at taking trips, long trips? You're looking at just taking weekend trips, things like that, because that's a big consideration. It's a bigger deal. Listen, I've known people that traveled the country and lived out of a pop-up for 2 years. They actually wrote a book called Popping Up Across America, and they put 50,000 miles in their truck doing so before they traded up and went to a travel trailer. So listen, you can get by on the smallest of small RVs. I mean, there's people that are doing it in little Tab 320s, so you could do it. It's just a matter of what conveniences do you want. So once you figure out what your style is, and when talking style, you talk about bunkhouse too, or you're talking about rear living room, you're talking about front kitchen. You really got to figure that out. Then look at, okay, well, where are you going to be going? Like you say, New Horizons, they want to do a lot of boondocking. Do you want to do a lot of boondocking? Do you want to, are you going to mainly camp at campgrounds? Do you want to be on, waterfront campgrounds, a campsite? You want to be out, state parks? A lot of different ways you got to consider it, because now why is that a consideration? Well, one is power. You saw her talking about solar system, but the other thing you want to consider also is your tank sizes, because when you're out boondocking like that, the larger your holding tanks, the longer you're going to be able to stay in a place. So that's your third question. The last thing you want to consider is how much do you want to spend? Now, in how much you want to spend, that could be from a standpoint of, okay, are you paying cash, or you're looking at financing and having a monthly payment? And that's what you need to understand. Now, when you're looking at things, when you're looking at buying new, typically banks are looking for 10% down. Now, is there a possibility that you can finance more without putting 10% down? Yes, that all comes down to the individual person. So there's a lot of things that go into that, and depends on what bank, what financial institution you're dealing with. But those are the 4 questions that I would say that you would want to consider if you were going to go out and buy an RV. Take those into consideration. But any questions on the second topic we talked about, as far as questions to ask yourself before buying an RV? I see we have some more people in the house here. We have Scott Jacobson. We had Avenger RV Adventure. We have Johnny's Journey. Chuck Ash, appreciate you joining us here this evening. Aaron Jameson, good to see you, sir. Glad to see that you got your situation worked out on the RV down there. That was a good thing. I see Griswold family's here. Appreciate you coming in. See if anybody else here. Carrie Joe was here. Vanderella, appreciate you coming in the house here. So, pretty nice size group here this evening. I hope you found the topic to be helpful, and hope it answered any questions that you may not have thought about. So, back to what I said earlier. When you're ready to buy, that's when you buy.
Did you see Aaron's
What was the question here?
question? Do you see the finance companies being picky because of the world events?
All right, so a question came in about the finance companies being a little bit more picky. Now, let's put it in perspective here. I have seen, since I've been doing this, I've seen people with 800 scores get turned down before. Don't know really why, but situation is this. I've seen people come in, they've just bought a car and they think, okay, I could buy an RV. I'm coming in, I'm not putting anything down. I want to finance 100%, blah, 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 because that's what they did with the car. Understand with a car is a need. An RV is a want. So the underwriting for an RV is almost very similar to if you're buying a house. Now, there are what they call second chance banks out there that will give you the benefit of the doubt and will go ahead and finance you. They typically limit the amount they're going to finance, but then they also are going to charge you 2 or 3 times the interest of somebody else that was more qualified. So do understand that. And I see Vanderbilt, I appreciate that super sticker. Thank you very much. I tell you, those things are being put to good use. I've got a big expo. Well, I got something I want to announce. Big announcement next Tuesday night. We got a big announcement coming up, and we will put that to use. That's for darn sure. Plus, by the way, remember next Tuesday night. What next Tuesday night is? It is the first Tuesday of the month, and that is going to be RV trivia. So be sure to join us, and we're going to have some fun here. So anyway, we could hardly find any used RVs, any dealers' websites. Yeah, that is a hard thing to find right now. Is new and used, and because you're not going to find. I think dealers' lots, even on used, tend to be less because more and more individuals understand that it's better for them to sell it. So you're going to find that typically Facebook Marketplace and things of that nature. Be careful though when you're buying from a private party. Make sure you understand what you're looking at. If you don't know what you're looking at, get one of those RV inspectors to go out there with you, because I'll tell you, the last thing you want to do is buy something from somebody and it's just going to be a nightmare for you. I can't tell you how many people's vehicles or RVs I've gone to take a look at to give them a kind of an idea of what condition it's in, and they have no idea the water damage that they have. It's unbelievable. But it's because I guess it progresses slowly over time, and they just get used to it, and they just don't think anything's wrong. So, or maybe they just didn't know where to look. So be careful with that. But appreciate that. RV Underway's in the house. Appreciate you coming in. Time for Exploring is in the house as well. I do appreciate everybody showing up here. Be sure that whether you're watching this on replay or whether you're watching this now, you do give me a thumbs up. For those of you watching replay, put a comment down below. That does definitely help. And do definitely consider getting in on that drawing for Make-A-Wish till you'll make some families happy with your donation. That's for sure. I've got another Make-A-Wish family picking up their trailer this Thursday. So looking forward to that and putting some smiles on another family's face. So again, trying to keep it short and sweet, give you the actual factual information. And by the way, I'm going to be working on something for we call it the Aldi system, that is in the new camp and maybe some of the Airstreams and other brands. I'm working on getting one of the people from Aldi to come on, because I tell you, there's a lot of misinformation out there on how to winterize. And we're going to go ahead and set that, the facts straight with that system. So thanks again. Appreciate you coming in. And let's see here. See if there's another question. We just decided to buy a new fifth wheel since this is going to be our permanent home. Certainly. Well, something I would tell you to look at, Susan, definitely consider the Grand Design. Grand Design, in my opinion, is one of the best built out there, and it's a full profile, it's 101 inches wide, so it's going to give you that extra 5 inches on the interior as well. If you have time, I would tell you to go ahead and head up to Indiana, visit the different plants of the ones that you're considering buying, and then make an educated decision that way. Tell you, you'll be glad you did, that's for sure. So appreciate everybody coming in, and I'll be back at you again next Tuesday night. Thanks again. Have a great week.